king of the world!
Did you just come?
I can't believe you committed suicide. I cannot believe you committed suicide. How could you have done this? How could you have committed suicide?
Oh God, oh God, oh God.
You better start talking. You better start talking.
Did you and Mary have sexual intercourse?
Oh, you are sick.
Hey there, friends and family. This is Dan. I'm here with the Dan and Adam Are Afraid podcast, brought to you by March 8th, 2026. It is episode 91. And you're joined here on episode 91 by a very special guest, our co-host, Adam.
I'm confused. Am I a very special guest or am I the co-host? Either way, I'm happy to be here.
We don't have a guest. I was told we were going to have a guest.
Yeah, we're supposed
Someone
to have
didn't come through with that. Weird.
Yeah. I mean,
Where's my guest?
What are you going to do, right? You got people, they got lives, they got cats, they got to go to the vet. Dan, I can hardly contain myself. As you can see through the webcam, I'm very excited. No, I am very excited, Dan. I just wanted to jump into my announcement right away. Is that okay with you?
Did you and Mary have sexual intercourse?
What? Oh, that's right, everybody. It's your boy Adam here again, and got a little bit of news here. Looks like we're going to be adding one more to the Dan and Adam Are Afraid family. That's right. I have a child on the way. Let's hear it for having a child on the way. Oh, God. Indeed.
Oh, God.
Man. I was just like, ooh, this is rated R. I mean, it's going to be rated something, but nah, man, I'm excited. Yeah. I got a little kid on the way. I don't know what yet. Hopefully it's not, going to be this baby from this movie, but
Assumedly not. That's great news, Adam. Congratulations. This is the first I'm hearing of this.
yeah, Dan, it's the first time I'm telling you. No, man, I'm excited. I'm excited that I got to have my beautiful pregnant wife watch Eraserhead while she's beautiful and pregnant. It felt it felt like I'm starting things off on the right foot. It's going to be a nice story to tell my kids someday. Is like, yeah, we watched this film when you were just a little zygote, when you were just a fetus. I was just like, ooh. Yeah. That sounds more
who's
like
who's the father? Is it Adam Bot?
Adam Bot, yeah.
Or is it you?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, you can't tell the difference between Adam Bot or me. So,
That's great news, Adam. How are you feeling about this, buddy? You're fucking. How old are you? Like 38, 39?
I am 39 years old, sir. 39, going on 40 this year.
I think my father was like in his 40s when he had me.
Yeah.
I think he's like 45 or something.
Hopefully, yeah. I'm going to be an old dad. When my kid graduates high school, I'm going to have gray hair and be all like, way to go.
Not that old, though. My mom married someone who was like in their like fucking 50s or 60s or something. He was like in his 80s when his daughter graduated, like late 70s, early 80s when his daughter graduated.
And that's going to be me, everybody, just old and just like...
That, jeans used to cost less than my day.
When I was a kid, there was a term for president every 4 years.
Yeah, there wasn't just there wasn't Mecca Trump. Mecca JD Vance.
But
that's
it's
great news, Adam.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're bringing some good news to the podcast.
Yeah. I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous or petrified at all. I was talking with I have a therapist, Dan. Did you know that? I do 2 podcasts sometimes where I'm like here, and then another one where I'm sitting in some lady's office and I'm still just talking up a storm. And sorry, I had
She said she loves you. She's like, I'm Melfi. I'm Dr. Melfi. You're falling in love with me. Your mom.
Yeah. Yeah, she's always got those gams out. Dude, that's the one thing. Dr. Melfi is inappropriate as a therapist.
You think so?
She's got them legs out all the time. I'm like, how are you supposed to focus on therapy?
Well, folks, it's episode 91, and we just dropped a bombshell on you. So I hope you're prepared for that. I don't have much to say. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Adam's going to change completely. This is why I'm forming a sideshow for horror movies. Because once this happens, he's going to be like, I can't watch horror movies anymore. It's too real.
Yeah.
He's already like that.
I had a friend who had a child, and like a post he made on Facebook where he was like, I can't watch Eraserhead anymore after having a child. And I think part of this is me being like, fuck that. I'm going to watch Eraserhead once a year now because I'm an edgelord.
I'm an edgelord with my own life. But thanks for joining us on episode 91, folks. We don't have much to talk about. We have a couple thoughts. I didn't look into anything, so that's a problem. Like, what are we going to do? I don't have much thoughts. I did notice this week that this Burger King CEO burger mogged the McDonald's CEO. Did you hear about this, Adam?
Yeah, Chad. Oh man, I wish I could remember that post where it's like
he's like, I love. What's the post?
It's just like this, like Chad Sell was being mogged by. I can't even remember how it goes. I feel bad for this McDonald's CEO, man. Like everyone, like just imagine that you're a weird eater. You're a guy who eats weird, and then you record yourself eating food, and then everyone's just making fun of you for it, like viciously.
It's like the SpongeBob. It is bad though. I mean, he's a CEO. Why do they have the CEO who has zero charisma taking a bite of a burger on camera and releasing it to the public? This is bad PR.
Yeah. No, I feel like part of me is like, it has to be like, this is just a coordinated effort by all of these, they're just trying to rack up and get people interested in fast food again. I mean, I tried the Arch. That's what it's called. That's what he was eating, Dan. Did you know?
The Big Arch.
I had the Big Arch last night. I still have heartburn.
You had the product?
I had the product. It was okay. It tastes like every other McDonald's burger. Oh, excuse me.
I don't know. It's my birthday weekend, so someone's taking me out to Garcia's after this. That's it. That's what I'm doing. No fast food for me. Just restaurant fast food.
Garcia. That's your favorite. That's your favorite Mexican place. I
love that place. I love Tex-Mex. Sue me. I don't give a fuck. I don't know. We've reached the era where there's just CEOs slam dunking on each other now. Like, it wasn't just the Burger King; it was also who else? There's a bunch of
Whataburger released a video.
Yeah.
It was their spokesperson, not their CEO, but he's playing their CEO. And that was like the harshest one so far, because he literally is like, "Here, we're trying a new burger product, which you might know as a burger." And I was like, "Oh, this poor guy." I don't know. I shouldn't feel too bad for him, but
you're like, I feel bad for the CEO.
I'm defending the CEO, the Burger King CEO,
the weird lizard-like CEO who doesn't seem like a human.
Sure, did it right too, though. Like, he has on the apron. He's just like standing and laughing with the people cooking, and then he does that bite where you kind of angle yourself and just take a big old honking bite of a burger, and he's like, I'm a regular guy like you.
It's getting hard to deny, Adam. It's getting hard to deny that we are, in fact, the Burger Reich.
Yeah.
That's my thought on this. I'm like, everything's about burgers. For Americans, that's how we think. That's how we do math in the future. It's going to be like Idiocracy. They're like, how many burgers does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
If you're not allowed to buy 2 burgers, what sort of government are you living under? Yeah, it's going to be the question on your social studies test.
I had a whole topic about the Gen Z temporal time loop, but I didn't even read the article, so we're skipping that. I guess we can incorporate AI cannot be copyrighted, so says the Supreme Court. You hear about this?
First I'm hearing about it now, but Damn.
Oh yeah.
All those little images I made, I can't copyright them and put them on a t-shirt and charge people for use of it.
You could probably do it. It'd just be kind of illegal. I don't know. This doesn't affect handcrafted works like Baby Invasion or Aggro Drift or like stuff that uses it as a tool, but it does affect some things. And I heard like in response, you have a lot of the companies now being like, I don't know. I didn't even look into it that deeply, but it's going to have a rippling effect. Yeah, I don't have much to say on this topic. You're just hearing about it for the first time. Didn't make much ripples in your world.
And that's the news in your world.
What else we got here? The slow decline of the earthworm. I didn't look this one up. I had a thought. Maybe I'll circle back to this in another podcast. But Adam, where are all the worms at when it rains? Do you remember that? Do you remember that worms used to come out of the ground?
Yeah, it was just a very, very common, memory of mine as a childhood. Rain comes down, worm comes up. Can't explain that.
When's the last time you saw a worm?
I haven't seen a worm in a long ass time. And I have like a little backyard with like brush, with like these little bougainvillea trees that I have to trim them down and rake stuff up and dig stuff up sometimes. And I ain't seen a worm. I ain't seen no worm. Where'd you put that worm?
I remember growing up in the suburbs of like Glendale, Arizona, and like even our lawn had like worms and snails all over the place. Haven't seen them in a long time.
Snails,
probably not a good sign.
Snails too, man. They're missing too. I remember like as a kid accidentally, and it was an accident, stepping on snails, and I felt bad. I'd feel bad about it because I'm like, oh no, they crush so easily. I ain't seen one in
I was at the Ren Fair.
In a minute.
I was at the Ren Fair yesterday, and I saw a little ladybug. And I remember playing with ladybugs when I was a kid, so that made me happy. I was like, there's a ladybug out here. I just saw one, though. There's probably many, but they're still out there, folks. I used to put them in a bottle and be like, these are mine now, and try to feed them. They just die.
Oh, God, Dan.
Kids are awful. Hey, Adam, we watched a movie this week. What did we watch?
We watched Eraserhead from 1977.
Coming soon to a theater near you.
Yeah, Eraserhead. It's a 1977 horror film written, directed, produced, and edited by the GOAT himself. This is David Lynch. This is his feature-length directorial debut.
Thank you for joining us again on episode 91, folks. Adam, go ahead and read us the ad read right here at the beginning so people are forced to listen to it.
Rate the podcast on Apple or Spotify. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Share it with a friend. Send it to your family. Hit the like button on YouTube. Subscribe. Drop a line. Leave a comment. Slam that notification bell. Join the Discord. Hang out and chat with us. Follow Dan's Night Out on Instagram. And check out the other links in our description. Dan and Adam rely on the kindness of listeners like you, taking the time out of your day to make a difference. And our bargain remains. If you leave a review, we will read it on the show live on air. Thank you. Now on to the program.
You don't want to play asshole with me, kid. You lose every time.
Again, thanks for joining us. We're talking about a big one this week. We've only talked about David Lynch once before on this podcast. That was episode number 1 of our released episodes, Lost Highway. Go back and check out that episode, folks. Much different Dan and Adam back then. Somehow. We've changed a lot even from that since then.
Yeah, it almost feels criminal that we haven't had more Lynch on this show.
It just feels like A Sacred Cow. Like I don't even want to talk about his films. Like I can't do these justice.
I can even say I haven't seen all of his film. I haven't seen The Elephant Man.
No, I haven't seen Elephant Man. I haven't seen I want to say The Long Walk, but it's not that. It's like the one where the guy's on the tractor.
Straight Story?
I haven't seen that one either. Straight Story. I have a Japanese Blu-ray of it, but I haven't watched it yet. One of these days. I should watch it soon. Yeah, there's some I haven't seen. I haven't seen I guess that's it. Although he has directed a lot. I went to his Letterboxd director filmography, and he has like 99 films up there. I mean, they're not all, feature length or anything. They're mostly short films, but he's done a lot of stuff that I have not watched, which is cool. I can go back and watch that stuff.
Yeah.
I did watch some stuff, I guess, up front we can talk about. I don't know if you watched. Did you watch anything other than the feature?
I watched an interview with Lynch. That long.
Okay, you didn't watch any of the shorts?
Eraserhead
You're not familiar with the alphabet?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay. Well,
I'm going to learn about it right here on the show.
There's not much to learn. There's no plot. It's just watching a painting. I was just curious if you've seen him before, because I've seen the alphabet before this. I still haven't seen the Grandmother. That was the one. Grandmother and the Amputee I did not have time to watch.
No.
Adam, go ahead and read me the IMDb plot description for Eraserhead.
Henry Spencer tries to survive his industrial environment, his angry girlfriend, and the unbearable screams of his newborn mutant child.
Be warned, the nightmare has not gone away.
In heaven, everything is fine.
Warning, the nightmare has not gone away.
Where your nightmares end.
A dream of dark and troubling things. Up top, we got a photo here of David Lynch, our boy, around the time they were filming Eraserhead, which would have been 1972, 1975, 1976, several years. This is a photo of him and Jack Nance. David Lynch at the time often wore this hat in the photos I've seen. He wore this hat and he had long hair. And we'll get into the details. I watched Eraserhead Stories as well, the feature-length documentary that David Lynch produced in like 99 or something, 2000, maybe 2001, about the making of Eraserhead, directed by him, which I thought was really cool. So, yeah, I just finished that this morning. We'll get into a bunch of details, but go ahead and read me some of the good about David Lynch, Adam.
The good. He is the GOAT. He has a totalizing creative vision and is able to create dreamy psychic environments. His debut arrived so fully formed, uncompromised, and unmistakably authored.
And the bad. What's the bad about David Lynch here, directing Eraserhead? Not a goddamn thing. The man simply refused to miss. You're not going to hear a bad thing about David Lynch from me on this podcast, folks. Know that up front. This man is a spiritual figure to me, more than a director to me. So, that's where I stand.
Do you want to expand on that, Dan?
No.
There's be a lot of that today.
So I mean, we can see. This is the thing This is the one thing I didn't have too much time for, and maybe we should just quickly look at Frederick Elms. So Fred Elms did the cinematography for most of this film. Apparently, he's known for having worked with David Lynch, Jim Jarmusch. As far as documentaries, haven't seen any of them, but he did do a documentary in 2025 I haven't seen called I Know Catherine, the Log Lady. So it's about the life of Catherine Coulson, who is extremely involved in what was the word? She's like, this movie wouldn't happen without Catherine Coulson. So really important, the Log Lady. And, listening to her interviews during this era and just her talking to Lynch about Eraserhead and all her involvement with Eraserhead, her being like the backbone, like matron saint of Eraserhead. I don't know. It makes like the scene in The Return where she came back for Lynch and like literally she was days or whatever away from death and she's filming the scene about dying. And it's like, it just makes that hit even harder. Like they've known each other since they were in their 20s.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know. It just reframed I had never known that. I'd never known how deeply involved she had been with Lynch. I have such a respect for her. But anyway, Fred Elms, I guess, helped. I guess did the documentary. He's involved with something. I don't know. He probably just shot footage, right? And so they incorporated it and said, okay, that's Fred Elms. But he helped David Lynch shoot The Amputee, which Catherine Coulson is the star of. And I don't know, there's some Ang Lee films.
I mean,
some short
he's
films
the director of photography for Synecdoche, New York.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. We didn't see this is before we talked about this stuff, which is why I like that we talk about this stuff, because how would we ever have made this connection otherwise? But yeah, Fred Elms shot Synecdoche, New York, right there. Holy shit. Point blank. Not point blank, but, you know, Wild at Heart, Blue Velvet. That's awesome. I don't know. You know, he's one of the boys. Fred Elms was like, so the production history here is like, it wasn't just Fred Elms. Initially, there was Herbert Cardwell. He worked on the movie for, I think, about like 3 months or a couple years, something short before Fred Elms took over. But it's a guy who is really talented. David Lynch really respected him. He said he was really good at like flying planes and driving. The way he drove was perfect, where he never like jostled around as a passenger. But I guess he died when he was 35. So R.I.P. It wasn't like during Eraserhead or anything. It was sometime after that. But there's a few people here that just passed away early. That's kind of sad. So shout out Herb Cardwell. We respect your work, and I recognize it. But Fred Elms shot the majority of this, and it's just... We'll get into it, but like the sheer like belief they had in this man to work with him for basically free and just like for so many years, including Jack Nance. It's just crazy. I can't imagine it. I guess when you're young, it's a little bit easier when you're in your 20s, but this thing was shot over like years, dude. Years on no money. And somehow over time he got money for it, but like I think we'll get into it. I think the budget was like 100,000, but there's a lot of reasons why it ballooned to that figure. It wasn't just he had 100,000, but I don't know. You never worked on anything like this, right? You never had any creative, powerful friends that were like, we want you to be involved in this, and they like had a vision. Do you ever work with someone like this?
Just this podcast, Dan.
Just this podcast. The Dan and Adam Are Afraid podcast. Subscribe. Music composed. Go and read me who composed the music.
Let's hear it up top. David Lynch, Fats Waller, and Peter Ivers. And I mean, obviously, David Lynch. You know, anyone who knows him knows that he's a big musical guy. You know, music guy. He loves music. I think that there was a time when I would just jam to some David Lynch albums. Need to get that shit on vinyl. That'd be a nice collection to have.
Some crazy clown time. I was watching Eraserhead stories, and he was talking all about like getting this done, and you know he's like, it's so important. I think his name was Splett. Alan Splett is who helped him. It was like the producer on this. He was a really tall, skinny guy. He also helped out with Elephant Man, Dune, Blue Velvet. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I had more to say about that relationship and stuff, but obviously, like, yeah, David Lynch is known for sound editing, sound work, sound design, and it starts here with Eraserhead. It's a very unnerving movie. And obviously, like, you have samples and stuff. Like, he's putting in, like, Fats Waller. Fats Waller had no idea he was going to be in Eraserhead.
Yeah, when I saw, because I watched the credits when the movie was over, and I was like, Fats Waller. Just so everyone knows, he was an American jazz pianist, organist, composer, and singer, and he innovated the Harlem Stride style, which is just, let's see, it's the technique that has like the left hand technique from ragtime, and I think the right hand does the, I forget I'm not a musician, but it's a big deal. And I loved seeing Fats Waller's name in this thing.
Yeah, it adds like a thing. You get those music stings that come in, like what Lady in the Radiator is probably a big part. I would imagine when they have the Stompin' the Bug playing. Mm-hmm. Is that him? You also had Peter Ivers.
Yeah, Peter Ivers was he was a musician, singer, songwriter, television personality. He's actually the one who he's the one doing the vocals to In Heaven, which I was surprised. I thought that was David Lynch singing that.
Yeah, you would think so. Later in his career, he wrote and recorded songs that were recorded by Diana Ross and Pointer Sisters. We love the Pointer Sisters. Apparently, he was murdered under mysterious circumstances in 1983, and the crime remains unsolved.
Jesus Christ, he was found bludgeoned to death with a hammer.
Help us solve a mystery. All right, that's all I got. That's crazy. This is a great song. That's kind of unfortunate. Yeah, production companies. This is not your standard feature, folks. David Lynch begged and pleaded for money from the AFI, the American Film Institute. And I don't know. I was listening to his stuff and I was like, God damn it. Like, Lynch was like in such a perfect time and place to become who he was. Because he was like, he was saying he's like one of the second groups of people who got this grant to do movies. Like, you could just get grants to do art. Is this still a thing, Adam? Can we apply for this?
I mean, I think that they are. I just don't think there is as much money for it.
I just thought it was crazy. Like, yeah, he just got a bunch of money. He just kept getting money. It wasn't like a lot of money at first or anything. We're talking like $2,200 here and there or whatever, 10,000 maybe. But he stayed in like basically stables that were on the grounds of the AFI. Mm. And that's how he like shot this whole thing. But they're like, the reason this thing exists is they gave David Lynch a shot. Like, I don't know, the president of AFI or whatever at some point met with him, like drove down or took a train down to see him and shit. And it's just like, I can't imagine a world where you get these opportunities like this. He was very lucky. He was very lucky, and that's very interesting. But yeah, AFI, Center for Advanced Studies, they probably had their hands in a lot of movies, right? I don't know. There's too many. They're very important in general. They had a lot of, alumni that went on to become famous directors, and they'd come and give talks, and David Lynch would watch them and be like, wow. David Lynch was in the perfect time and place to become who David Lynch is and who we know. Do you know anything about Libra Films, the distributor, Adam?
Do I know anything about Libra Films? Well, let me tell you. No. When I look it up online, the first thing is like, founded in 2014. I'm like, that's not the same one we're talking about.
So it's important to note, Libra Films is linked to Ben Barenholtz. He is a Polish-born American film producer, exhibitor, and distributor with significant presence in the independent film scene since the late 1960s. So he is kind of the guy that started the midnight movie stuff. And he is known for discovering directors such as the Coen brothers, David Lynch, John Sayles, Guy Madden. He was the first to bring John Woo's The Killer to American screens. But he's like super important, I guess. I don't know. If you look at his film and distributions for Libra Films, you get like Night of the Living Dead. You get like just a ton of shit. It's probably good. Martin. So he did George Romero stuff for a while. Irizumi. Blood Simple. Okay, so Blood Simple. There you go. We've talked about that one before. Not officially, but we've talked about it. And yeah, I don't know. That's it. That's all I got to say. He's really important. And I guess Libra Films, like without Libra Films, you wouldn't know what Eraserhead is, probably.
Yeah. And like you said, like to happen at such a time when that would make a difference. Like I'm sure there's like 80, there's probably so many David Lynches now who just, they're never going to get a chance because the money is not going to things like this.
No, they're competing on TikTok to be the best influencer, and art has been flattened into content everywhere. Not to be a doomer.
We're doom scrolling today.
But it doesn't look good, folks, for people who want to do what David Lynch did. Shot on black and white 35mm Eastman Plus 5231 with Reflex 35, Eclair Camaflex and Mitchell R35. Not much to say. I'm skipping this week, folks. I don't care. It was shot with magic.
Yeah, this was it. Yeah.
It was mastered magic. It was mastered via photochemical intermediate. So there's what I've talked about is a very like physical process where you're sitting there cutting things. You're turning negatives into interpositives, internegatives, whatever the fuck. There's several prints, and it's a complicated ass process that David Lynch was doing himself. This was edited by David Lynch. And the entire time he was doing this over years, he was always editing as he was going, and he said he was always kind of caught up by the time they were filming. So, I don't know, man. That's fucking crazy. He used to have a machine that he used to work on all the time, and I don't know. Not something you do. I guess today it's just a computer, but yeah, this shit took work, man. And even there's a story about how later he did a screening to a group of people. I think it was we'll talk about it, the Film Expo, Filmex, and it was a longer cut by like I think 20 something minutes. And he after that screening, he was like, it felt like it was 400 hours long, and I turned the sound up way too loud, and he was freaking out, and he went home, and he's like, I'm cutting this tonight. And Fred Elms or whatever was like, you're crazy. And he's like, I'm doing it. And then he went and did it, and then he cut out 20 minutes, and he had all this mixed up film print. He had to go to like AFI and get some help like gluing it all together and making a new print. But it's shit like that where it's just like, there's 20 minutes we don't have of Eraserhead right there. Now, shooting dates, Adam. When was this shot?
This was shot, May 1972 all the way to October 1976. And that's 4 years and 5 months. I think that's a little bit longer than most shooting dates, right?
Little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit.
It's a long time. This is a student film, right? It's basically a student film. So he had a lot of time to work on this as a passion project. Now, this wasn't like the only movie. Like, he had tried to make another movie before this called Garden Back. You heard anything about Garden Back? It was a film he was trying to make before Eraserhead, and I guess he just said the script got out of control, and he didn't like it became less and less of things he liked, and more things that were just kept getting added, and he was like, I just don't like it. I don't want to work on Garden Back anymore, and he almost quit. He's like, I'm leaving. I'm done. Fuck this. They're like, no, David, stay. You can work on Eraserhead. Just stay with us. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, he almost quit and dropped out. Like, that's crazy.
There's a lot of elements in there where it's just like this didn't necessarily have to happen, but I think the script was like, and you can kind of hear with Garden Back, was based on like scripts by like Franz Kafka and Nikolai Gogol. I was kind of reading a little bit into the Metamorphosis, which is about a salesman, Gregor Samsa, who wakes up and finds himself inexplicably transformed into a huge insect and struggles to adjust to this condition, as does his family. That's the Kafka novel that is heavily influenced Eraserhead, as well as Nikolai Gogol's 1836 short story The Nose, which this one is about a government official whose nose leaves his face and develops a life of its own. I don't know. You can feel the Eraserhead energy in both of those like plot descriptions, I think, with like the X family and stuff like that. I don't know how we even got into this, but filming locations. Like we were saying, Center for Advanced Film Studies, AFI in Los Angeles. This was the film's spiritual home. Lynch and his collaborators built most of Eraserhead's world inside the AFI campus, transforming unused rooms, basements, and makeshift stages into the oppressive interiors of Henry's apartment in the industrial wasteland outside of it. AFI was the film's incubator, the place where Lynch lived, worked, and slowly constructed the movie over years.
Wow.
What about the next one, Adam?
Yeah, the next place was the Greystone Park and Mansion in Beverly Hills, California. And yeah, the interiors using stables and outlying buildings of the estate. That's so crazy to think about, right? That they're just like, they're at some stables, they're at a mansion, and that's where they're filming, but the end result is Eraserhead. You know, the industrial like dystopia that he's walking around in.
I thought an interesting note in Eraserhead stories was he was talking about how, Henry's room, that's a room within a room that they had to build, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can.
This is interesting because you think about that Red Letter Media, they have a room inside of a room in their set too. They're in a big warehouse or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's part of the fun of watching this movie is seeing how like so much of what they're doing almost looks like this could be a theater stage play. All the sets remind you of that.
And this is where David Lynch lived. He lived in Greystone Park and Mansion for several years until I think the groundskeeper, someone who owned the land was like, hey, this is going to become an editing area. And they kicked him out in like 75 or whatever. Damn. 75 or 76. And they're like, we got to fucking finish this quick. But yeah, it's just crazy. He was like, it wasn't illegal for me to do so. Some key people knew I was there, but they just looked the other way. And I guess there's an inspector who came by once a year to check on the rooms. Be like, yep, everything's fine, I guess. See you next year. He's just like living in there. He's like, he tell stories about like how when he'd go to sleep at night, they'd have him padlock the front door, and he'd like fucking he'd nail boards up to try and like make sure no one could get in. And then he'd just be in the dark ass room with no lights, like all night.
Very Lynchian.
Yeah, surprisingly. And then we have the Beverly Center construction site. Important to note, not the Beverly Center. The construction site before the Beverly Center was built and became a mall. Before it became that mall, the Beverly Center was a massive skeletal construction zone. Lynch used the site's unfinished concrete and exposed industrial framework to capture the film's sense of a world perpetually under construction or perpetually falling apart. It's one of the few exterior spaces in the film that feels like a direct imprint of 1970s Los Angeles. There's also a very weird story about Lynch obtaining a cat. And like, he's like, I just need a cat. And so like a vet finally was like, yeah, I just had to put one down. You want this cat? He was like, yes. And he got this cat and he like fucking put it in formaldehyde, and then he couldn't get it out of the jar. So he had to like wriggle out of this fucking jar. And then there's just years of this story where he's like, yeah, I left it at the construction site, and then I'd come back. I put it in a tar pit, came back a year later, took it out of the tar pit, and then just left it, came back a year later, and he's like, it was a perfect mix of cat impregnated with tar and earth. I was like, oh my God. David Lynch also is kind of a serial killer.
Yeah.
He kind of has that edge to him if you watch like the Art Life and stuff. He's a strange guy. But it doesn't make it into the final cut. So I think that was like, I think he's told a story about how the person who gave him the thing was like, don't make sure this isn't in your movie. It's like, okay, I'll just play with it myself. This is for my own personal enjoyment.
This is for personal use only. I like how even like just David Lynch's like attitude in telling stories, like when he mentions how like his first kind of like go ahead when they're like, we'll let you make Eraserhead. They're like, it's a 45-minute film. And he just kind of like in the interview, just like smiles. He's like, okay. And just looks off. I'm like, man, you little rascal.
It's like, it'll be a hair longer than that. What's the next one?
Yeah, the next shooting location we have at 4th Street Bridge in Los Angeles, California. Now, this is the infamous tunnel. Do
you know what it means by the infamous tunnel?
Remind me of the infamous tunnel.
It's the scene very early on where Henry's really close up to the camera and he looks really nervous and he looks behind him and like gulps and then he walks into the tunnel.
Okay, yeah.
You know it when you see it. Yeah, infamous tunnel. The point is, not many shooting locations, right? It's mainly all up in this mansion.
Yeah, all just set pieces that they built, which is again, like also knowing that like Lynch was involved with like set dressing and shit too is pretty cool, because he was like, I don't know, the handcrafted elevator doors could have been painted by Lynch.
Yeah, they were constantly as a group just working on sets. Like if they weren't filming, they were working on sets, building sets, and I think they did a really good job. And he's like, I never dusted in there. It was dusty for many years. It just adds to the otherworldly, dreamy aspect to the movie. I'll take the aspect ratio this week, folks. Aspect ratio is 185:1. You dropped this, king. Little crown emoji. Couldn't have picked a better aspect ratio myself.
That's why we call him the GOAT.
Usually I'm trashing this aspect ratio. Not this week. Go Go ahead and read me the runtime.
Runtime, we have 89 minutes. That's an hour and 29 minutes. This is not a long movie, folks.
Yeah, in my mind, I thought it was shorter. I thought it was maybe like an 80... I guess it is an 89-minute movie, but I pictured like, I don't know, barely 80 minutes, you know? But I guess, yeah. So this thing used to be, 20 minutes longer?
Yeah, so almost...
Would you want 20 more minutes of this?
I could have taken... I could have had 20 more minutes of this.
Have you seen any of the deleted scenes from this movie?
No.
Or any of the stills?
No.
So there's one scene where there's like... Catherine Coulson plays one of the women. They had a hard time getting another woman to play the other part, but it's two women tied to a bed, and there's like a guy, like Richard Ramirez style, like trying to electrocute them with a car battery. So I think Henry is supposed to walk in and open the doors and see that at some point when he's walking down like the apartments or whatever.
Oh, you are electrocuting women in here.
Yep.
Oh, you are sick.
Yeah, and then there's a Catherine Coulson was also supposed to play maybe a nurse when they go and collect the baby. She was going to be a really creepy nurse. But that never came to fruition. And I don't know, there's 20 minutes that was cut. I would love to see these 20 minutes. I don't know if it's out there. I didn't do that much digging, but it wasn't on the Criterion Blu-ray. So David Lynch did say at the end of Eraserhead Stories that he's like, there's things you work on that you wish you had kept stuff from. And he's like, sometimes you move and you can't take things you thought, you want to. You can't take as many things you'd like. He's like, I wish I had kept more things from Eraserhead. So there's a lot of things that were lost from Eraserhead. There's a lot of things we don't know. Release date. So I mentioned this earlier, March 19, 1977. Not far off from where we are now, folks. About, 23 plus 26? 49? Is that right? Almost 50 years since this came out. And
49 years, yeah.
Yeah. Film's first public screening presented at the Los Angeles Film Exposition. So that's what it is. The Film Exposition is the first screening, and this was a longer cut. And like I said earlier, David Lynch tells a story about how there were buttons behind the back row seats that you could hit, and then like it would turn the volume up. And he said, I hit it too much. And he's like, the movie felt 400 minutes long or 400 hours long, and I couldn't, I turned it up too loud, and he was just in misery, and that's what led him to cut out 20 minutes of the movie. Next one, we had a limited NYC release Wednesday, September 28, 1977. I think this was really small. One theater engagement at Cinema Village, marking the film's first true theatrical appearance. So this didn't have like a normal theatrical run. Do you want to read me about the midnight movie circuit stuff?
Yeah, starting February 3rd, 1978, on a Friday. This was shown at cult repertory theaters such as the Newark Theater in Los Angeles, California. This is the flagship location of the landmark theater chains in the U.S. and a cornerstone of the West Coast midnight movie scene. The Newark's programming helped cement the film's reputation, pairing it with other countercultural staples and sustaining it in its long-tail theatrical run.
And if you scroll down there, you're going to see some pictures of the new art. It's a little bit newer, but you can see it's like an establishment.
Yeah, classic.
Right now, I just want to quickly play a trailer, a quick trailer that David Lynch recorded for the new art, in particular for Eraserhead, to goose the screening sizes, get audiences in.
Hello. We're all very happy to be here tonight. First of all, I'd like to introduce my boys. This is Chucko, and this is Buster, and this is Pete. I'm David Lynch, and this is Bob, and this is Dan. And we just wanted to get together and thank all of the people that have supported Eraserhead through the years, and particularly thank the New Art Theater for its support. The New Art was one of the first theaters to ever show Eraserhead. Also, the boys wanted me to wish you peace and happiness. And these guys aren't just a bunch of goofballs. They know that there's plenty of suffering in the world, and they spent many years with little iron hooks in their backs up on Sunset Boulevard. And but they tell me that there's this all-pervading happiness underneath everything. And the more time I spend with them, the more I believe it. We wish you peace and happiness, and long live Eraserhead. Thanks a million. Thanks a million.
You heard about the Woody Woodpecker dolls, Adam?
Man, I'm learning so much today. No.
So I'm going to share with you a photo real quick so you can at least look at it. But this is the photo is from this video that was shot by Fred Elms. Fred Elms shot this for the New Art Theater in particular. In general, I'm posting it right now, but there's a story about David Lynch that's very famous about these Woody Woodpecker dolls he had kept. His story says, David Lynch is recalling a day in 1981 when he says he rescued 5 Woody Woodpecker toys he saw hanging up as he drove past a petrol station. I screech on the brakes. I do a U-turn. Go back and I buy them. I save their lives, he says seriously. I name them Chucko, Buster, Pete, Bob, and Dan. And they were my boys. And they were in my office. They were my dear friends for a while. But certain traits started coming out, and they became not so nice. Looking straight ahead, he says with a grim finality, they are not in my life anymore.
Okay.
But this is like a snapshot of that era where he was interacting with these Woody Woodpecker dolls, and I think that's interesting. But you can continue with the next one. I will have a small video of John Waters, though.
So yeah, John Waters took the spotlight in a no-smoking theatrical trailer, initially showcased at the New Art Theater. Oh, is that New Art Theater?
New Art.
New Art.
Yeah, like new metal.
Oh,
Yep.
Man, I'm Newart. In which he humorously advised patrons to smoke anyways. Additionally, Waters featured in a New Art specific trailer expressing gratitude to the theater for its long-standing showcase of pink flamingos and its role in elevating Divine to the status of a filth goddess. These trailers became part of the New Art's identity and reflect the same cinema culture that allowed Eraserhead to thrive.
Hello, I'm John Waters, and I'm supposed to announce there is no smoking in this theater, which I think is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard of in my life. How can anyone sit through a length of a film, and especially a European film, and not have a cigarette? But don't you wish you had one right now? And I'm telling you that smoke anyway. It gives ushers jobs, and if people didn't smoke, there would be no employment for the youth of today. So once again, no smoking in this theater.
If you scroll down again, yeah, some photos of the New Art there, and a little magazine clipping about Side by Side, Midnight Fridays, beginning February 3rd, the date we mentioned. We can't tell you anything about this milestone of filmmaking, except that it's unlike anything you've ever seen, and you may not be prepared. Oh, and we can tell you it's a cross between The Andalusian Dog, Franz Kafka, and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You want to read me a bit about Midnight Saturdays, Adam?
Midnight Saturdays, in color from Saliva Films, Pink Flamingos, An Exercise in Poor Taste, the longest running film in town. Directed by John Waters, starring Divine.
$2.50. Damn. I would have been here every fucking Saturday.
Yeah, right? Like, where's that shit at now? I guess it's all on YouTube and you got to find it, but...
Well, you got the Polack Cinema that kind of lives on with kind of cheap tickets and stuff. I just don't go there. I should. But, mention here, again, this is not a typical movie. It did not really compete, so to say, with other movies, but there is some numbers. February 1978 was dominated by blockbuster sci-fi, disco-era cultural phenomena, and prestige drama films. Eraserhead haunted that landscape as a chic, freak, midnight movie anomaly running parallel to the mainstream. You want to read me some of the movies that opened around then?
Yeah, around this same time, we had Star Wars in 1977. I believe this is A New Hope. And it premiered around May 1977, opening wider later in the year. Total worldwide gross is $307 million.
Yeah, just keep it simple. 307 million. A lot for 1977. Holy shit. Did you see Star Wars? You aware of this one?
Am I aware? I mean, I'm hearing about I've heard about Star Wars.
Of course, we had Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the Spielberg classic, that premiered in November 1977. The note to make here is, yes, they premiered in 77. We're targeting a 1978 date for the midnight movies. These were still in theaters at the time, right?
Yeah.
These were huge. These were still in theaters for like 6-8 months, year long. And, this one made $116 million. A lot, again, for 1977. What was the next one, Adam?
Saturday Night Fever. It premiered around December 1977. Total worldwide gross, $94 million.
I can tell by the way you want.
Man,
I love that movie. It's a great movie. I think I've seen the R-rated cut. I read recently there's a PG cut they made right after that because they're like, this is too dicey. Let's put it out in PG. And they had like issues because they had it issued out in the same title. And like, you can't do that. You can't have two cuts of the same movie in theaters at the same time with different ratings.
Yeah, that'd be confusing. That would be a bummer. Take your kids to the wrong one.
Weird.
Like, hey kids, I heard there's a
you take them to the R-rated one.
There's a PG Saturday night disco movie, kids.
There's like an abortion in it. This one, made $94 million. Coming Home. This one I thought was interesting, right? We just talked about Hal Ashby's being there, and Coming Home comes up the next episode around the same time, literally the same month of the midnight movie screening in February 78. We had Coming Home, which was the one I believe with. It's the Oscar bait one where the guy comes home with no legs. We talked about it on the last episode. Check it out. $32 million.
And then, the next one we have here, The One and Only. It's a Henry Winkler comedy film directed by Carl Reiner. The total worldwide gross here was $16 million.
So it's a mid-budget here. And Carl Reiner, our boy who is responsible for... Wait, what is it? Where's my sample?
You don't want to play asshole?
Oh God, Book 1.
Oh God, Book 1.
Oh God, Book 2.
And then we got Eraserhead here. Total worldwide gross to this day is $7.1 million. We'll get into a little bit more later, but it made more money than Blue Collar.
Yeah, Blue Collar.
Overall.
Paul Schrader's directorial debut. It grossed $6.5 million.
This is the one I think with Richard Pryor is in this one.
Yeah, Richard
Someone
Pryor.
else. I haven't seen.
What's that guy's name? Harvey Keitel.
There you go. Yeah, I haven't seen this one. Have you seen it?
No, I have not. I should. I mean, it's a crime. It's crime drama. I love crime.
Well, the one and only is getting added to the list for sure. The Henry Winkler comedy. So this budget, $100,000. It's a lot of money, you would think, for like a no-one filmmaker, but it's kind of a lot. And it wasn't like all at once, right? He got this over time. There's stories about Sissy Spacek and her husband, I believe, were big contributors to this film, and would give him money throughout to help him finish it, all this stuff. So it didn't come all at once. They didn't just give him $100,000. He was working piecemeal for years trying to get it done, and that's maybe like an estimated what they produced this with. Weekend box office, not really important here. Total worldwide gross, again, 7.1 million estimated. Data set is attempting to capture, reconstruct an entire midnight movie run from the late 70s through the 1980s. Played every night for years in some cities. It became a ritual in the midnight circuit and was just not a normal theatrical release. And this revenue we're talking about, 7.1 million, it accumulated very slowly over time. And we're just looking at this figure in 2026. I'm sure to him in the moment it felt like a success, but I doubt he was getting a major windfall of money for it. But maybe I'm wrong. And that's really it. That's all I got this week for Eraserhead, Adam. Did you bring anything to the table I haven't mentioned yet?
Nothing for like pre-production notes. I mean, I got some thoughts on the film, but
let's talk about the film itself, Eraserhead.
You'll be all right in a minute.
Excuse me.
No, we always do this. I do want to mention the cast a little bit. We have Jack Nance as Henry Spencer. You know, Jack Nance, you know him. There's Fish in the Percolator. He's amazing. And I was watching some of the behind the scenes, interview they do, I think in the 90s. They go out to the mansion and they walk out there with Jack Nance, Catherine Coulson, someone else, and David Lynch is obviously there and they're filming. And it just struck me because Jack Nance is walking with like a cane. He's just really frail and old. And I was like he got beat to death not long after this, basically. I was like, man, can you imagine just beating this old man, frail old man? Just made me sad. I was like, damn. He was not like, by the time he died, he was not like, he didn't look like he looked in Twin Peaks. He looked like an old man. Who else, Adam? Who's next? Who's next in the cast list?
We got Charlotte Stewart. She plays Mary X. I mean, what can we say about her?
Well, important. There's something you could say about her. Where do you recognize her from? You looking at a photo on her Wikipedia right now?
I am. I don't.
She's one of the moms in Twin Peaks. She's Betty Briggs. She's Bobby's mom.
Oh, okay. All right. There you go. It's so crazy how he works with these people. Just so often, once he started working with them, he just kept working with them.
Apparently she was in Tremors. I don't remember from that, but I mean, it's unmistakable. I've seen her in Twin Peaks. So it's just interesting. I had never made that connection before. Mary, the woman who gives birth to the Eraserhead baby, is, worked with Lynch from here. I didn't know that. Then we got Alan Joseph as Mr. X, which is the dad. You know, he's the one who's nonchalantly just like, I quoted it down here in my watch notes, but he's the one who's like, we've got chickens tonight. Strangest damn things. They're man-made. Little damn things. Smaller than my fist. But they're new. I'm Bill. That's Mr. X's Bill. Then what? Jeanne Bates? I am not familiar with Jeanne Bates. Lynch had a story about her that he didn't want to hire her because he's like, you're too beautiful. You're too beautiful. We gotta frump you up. So he gave her like facial hair and like a droopy eye and all this stuff. He's like, perfect. She was in Mulholland Drive because she was the old lady at the beginning who drops Naomi Watts off with the old man.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I just realized that right now. Okay,
man, I've seen her there. She acted from 1943 to 2001. That's it's quite a career.
Yeah, last movie was Mulholland Drive. I don't know. I haven't seen Dream Lover, but that has Twin Peaks alumni Madchen Amick and James Spader. Might be worth a poke. But yeah, I don't know. Shout out. There's a lot of good talent here. Jean Lange as the grandmother. I did have a note about the grandmother I'll read now. My note about the grandmother is I think it's great that they keep the grandmother involved and engaged by making her toss the salad and letting her smoke a cigarette. Mm-hmm. Very inclusive. Judith Roberts, not much to say, but she's the beautiful woman in the hallway that Henry, I guess, has sex with. I don't know. Apparently she was in James Wan's supernatural horror film Dead Silence, which is sick. I didn't know that. She plays the main antagonist, Mary Shaw.
She was in...
It's an interesting note.
She was also in the 2008 Chuck Palahniuk adaptation Choke, which I have not seen that movie. Even though I am a Chuck fan.
She's Elegant Lady.
Yeah, she's Elegant Lady. She was in Orange is the New Black. That's the one thing that, like, once I saw that, I was like, oh, crap. Okay, I kind of remember her. She's an old lady now, folks.
She got a Screen Actors Guild Award. Yeah, I haven't seen that show. My girlfriend loves it. Laurel Near as the lady in the radiator. I have not heard a single thing about Laurel Near, but she's great in this role. Just a random person, he cast at the time. And Jack Fisk. Jack Fisk was married to Sissy Spacek. I think they're still married. And he's the one who really helped David Lynch get this project off the ground. He's the man in the planet at the very beginning and at the end. And that's our cast. Adam, lead us into Eraserhead.
This movie opens up, and we're immediately introduced to Eraserhead proper, Henry Spencer himself. I'm just gonna take this as I want to take it. I'm not gonna try and be. I feel like the opening of this movie makes so much. If you watch Eraserhead and then you watch Twin Peaks season 3, it all makes so much sense, right? Like you just see like that fucking line, that David Lynch creative line that just stretches all the way from the 1977 to 2018. And you see it in the opening of this film with Henry Spencer's face just floating superimposed over a planet in space. And he moves his mouth, and what would you call that? I feel like it's kind of like a sperm-like creature, right?
Yeah, it's a spermatozoan creature.
And then we have
they got names. There's several of them.
Yeah, we have the man inside the planet moving a set of levers, and the creature is flushed away, and it falls in on like a little puddle. It looks like it could be on the moon, could be on Mars. Doesn't really make sense.
My note here was it's an obvious homage to 2001: A Space Odyssey at the beginning. And there's a note here from trivia that says, it is often claimed David Lynch met American director Stanley Kubrick while working on The Elephant Man in 1980, and that Kubrick revealed to Lynch that on that occasion, The Eraserhead was his favorite film. In an interview released after Lynch's death, he set the record straight. He was told that Kubrick wanted to meet him, but Lynch declined, as he heard that Kubrick always recorded every conversation, which horrified Lynch. He later learned from people who actually visited Kubrick's house that Eraserhead was indeed Kubrick's favorite film. Eraserhead even served as an influence on Kubrick's film The Shining. The director reportedly screened the film, among others, for the cast and crew to put them in the mood that he wanted the film to achieve. So, a little bit Kubrick there. It goes both ways. I think Kubrick appreciated Lynch, and Lynch obviously appreciated Kubrick, and you see that with what we're talking about now, this opening scene, and even The Return, obviously, episode 8.
And I feel like this, I don't know, going off of other people's interpretation of this movie, which obviously this movie is very up to interpretation, I would say. I guess like the common explanation for this opening scene is that this is like essentially a sex scene occurring. I mean, we have this like sperm coming out of Henry dropped into a puddle. And so it's like, I don't know, I was laughing at the beginning of this. This movie's very funny too.
Yeah, it's a comedy, right? Yeah, Lynch talks about that in the interview you maybe watched. I'm not sure.
In an industrial cityscape, Henry walks home with his groceries. And he is walking home through probably the most desolate industrial landscape I've seen. Like this could be the opening of any horror video game where you're just walking around.
That's where you get the infamous tunnel.
Yeah. And Henry gets up to his apartment, and he's stopped outside by a woman across the hallway, the beautiful woman. And she informs him that like his girlfriend Mary has invited him to dinner with her family. So Henry leaves his groceries in his apartment, and his apartment is filled with piles of dirt and dead plants.
Yeah, weird touch.
And I feel like just more of that shit. There's like shit growing out of the piles of dirt like the whole time. It gets
yeah, like a little twig.
Yeah, that night Henry visits Mary's home, conversing awkwardly with her mother. Now the dinner table, he is asked to carve a Cornish game hen. And what is the quote again? They're like about these chickens.
He just says, "We got chicken tonight. Strangest damn things. They're man-made. Little damn things. Smaller than my fist. But they're new. I'm Bill." And then he goes on his whole rant about the pipes. He's like, "People think pipes grow by themselves. I built all these pipes in this whole city." And he just gets yelling. The pipes are hissing as he's doing it. Like, "Calm down, Bill."
Look at my knees.
Yeah, look at my knees. And then you get like the shots of the dog, I think with the pups.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And it's really unsettling, right? It's very unsettling. And eventually she corners him. And she's like, or the mom corners him, like, "I need to talk to you alone." And she like
Did you and Mary have sexual intercourse?
And then like licks his face in a sexually suggestive manner. And then Mary comes in and breaks that up. And she's like, they're talking about the baby, right? Because they're like, she's pregnant. There's a baby.
There's a baby at the
He's
hospital.
Like, Mom, they don't even know if it is a baby. He's like, there's a baby. I think I took the note down. She says, Mother, they're still not sure if it is a baby. And she says, it's premature, but there is a baby. Do you know why Mary's mother has a connection at dinner, Adam?
Do I know? I mean, I have no... I don't actually have a thought. I don't know why. What do you think?
Is that the Burger American thing?
The Burger American thing?
The Burger Reich. The Chicken Reich. The chickens are obviously very disturbing. You know, they like kick their legs up in an almost like suggestive fashion, and they bleed through the legs again in a suggestive fashion. And, you know, that's disturbing. And what else happens in this scene?
Well, like you were saying, yeah, she has like a full on so while Henry's going to cut open this Cornish game hen, there's like in the legs start just like moving back and forth, blood starts gushing out of the chicken. I love that he asks like before he does, he's like, "You just cut this like a normal chicken?" And the whole time while he's like while he's cutting into it, like the mother is just freaking the fuck out. And we could say, I guess, yeah, like there's some burger symbolism going on here.
And like, what's the emotional through line here? Henry's being maybe not introduced to the exes for the first time, but it's a big moment, and he's very scared and terrified. Like he's nervous the whole time. He's like, okay. And they don't end up eating either. I don't remember. I think they just kind of take off, and the dad's like, "It's getting cold. Food's getting cold."
So I'm looking here at the emotion wheel, and we would say that Henry's fearful, but would you say he's anxious? Is he feeling weak? Is he feeling rejected?
All those things, right?
Well, I think the biggest feeling in this scene is anxiousness, which, you know, yeah, worried and overwhelmed. Maybe he's even scared, frightened, helpless. And like you really feel like it's almost like the entire feeling throughout this entire movie is like there's just a feeling of like helplessness and being overwhelmed going on in, like the whole time from every character, like from multiple characters too. We'll get to it when the woman across the hallway, what's her name?
She doesn't have a name.
Beautiful girl across the hall. There we go.
No.
Like even like when they're like making love, like she the whole time like notices the baby and is just fucking terrified.
And it just cuts right there. Like they move into the Henry's 1-bedroom apartment. It's unclear if they get married, right? The mom's just like, you'll be wed very soon, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I do like the moment where Mary's like, "You don't mind, do you, Henry? Getting married?"
She's so sad.
I just thought it was very like real. Like, you know, that happens to tons of people, right? Like that's the emotional through line of this. And I don't know, we'll give our readings at the end, but like, you know, David Lynch was having kids at this time with his wife, Peggy, I believe. And obviously that had to have been an influence here, but you know, getting trapped in a relationship so young and such a serious thing like that. I know Jack Nance is like 35 in this movie, but yeah, it's just scary, man. And yeah, you're just like, I don't know, you don't mind being together forever right now for the next 60 years? It's a big thing. He has a nosebleed. Was one last thing I wanted to mention. He has a nosebleed, and yeah, they move into the 1-bedroom apartment. They begin caring for the child, which is a swaddled bundle with an inhuman face that resembles the spermatozoan creature seen earlier. I don't know if I agree with that, but sure. The infant refuses all food and cries incessantly and intolerably. The sound drives Mary hysterical. I do have a note about that. I said, the way Mary gets angry at the crying baby, getting up in the middle of the night and yelling at it to shut up. It's real, but it's like, damn, dude. was it night 1? Night
Yeah.
2? Time's kind of not.
But we don't know how long it's been, but I don't know. As somebody who has a kid on the way, like watching this film, I was just like taking notes of what not to do about how like, okay, this kid is going to be screaming. What I better not do is scream back at it. Like, will you shut up? Pretty shocking to see in 1977 as well. I was like, Jesus Christ, this was made in the 70s. Like,
Yeah, that's why this thing was like a scary a horror movie, right? It kind of you haven't seen the movie, but you know it kind of reminds you of Combat Shock or something like that, where that movie ends with the main character in this destitute vet. He's a veteran. There's no money and he has no options, and he goes crazy and he ends up killing his baby and his wife. We'll check it out someday. Combat Shock, maybe. That might be the other show. But yeah, it's very shocking, and she leaves in the middle of the night. She's like, I've had it. I can't get any sleep. Henry attempts to care for the child, and he learns it struggles to breathe, and he's developed painful sores on its skin.
Oh, you are sick.
What happens next, Adam?
and Henry begins experiencing visions, again seeing the man and the planet, as well as a lady who inhabits his radiator and stomps on more of the sperm creatures. Henry has a sexual encounter with the girl across the hall, which we mentioned earlier, and he has another vision in which the lady in the radiator sings, "In heaven, everything is fine." And his head pops off his body while he is fidgeting, replaced by the baby's crying head. I want to talk about that scene a bit. Let's talk about the whole scene, though. Henry's disembodied head falls from the sky, landing on a street and breaking open. A boy finds it and takes it to a pencil factory to be turned into erasers.
Eraserhead.
And I don't know. I think it's annoying how some, when people give out like, they're like, this is a definitive meaning behind this scene. So I don't want to say anything like that, but I don't know. I definitely got the feeling like this scene like kind of represents how, having a baby could lead you to be, like essentially losing your identity, and literally your body and everything just goes to be like it's fed even more into like the capitalist machine of making things out of essentially taking our life force and making something out of it. I mean, other than it being still kind of funny, like his there's even a scene that comes up when the boy takes it into the pencil factory, and there's like a desk clerk, and he's like, he's like ringing the fucking bell, like ring, 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 and his boss comes out and he's like, "Yeah, ring that bell."
It reminds you of The Return. That's why The Return is like the swan song, because it features elements from like all of his movies, including this one with the FBI agents that are interviewing people throughout the whole season 3.
Yeah,
it's great. I mean, it's a great scene. It's the scene for sure. I don't know. There's a lot of things I'd mention here. Like when he's fidgeting with like a little metal bar that he's spinning, and I thought that was a really nice kinetic piece of action you can just watch. And I probably have some notes here. Let me see real quick. I didn't mention. I'm going to mention it now. I'm going to mention 2 things right now. I love the fact that Henry says he's on vacation to the exes. He's like, "I'm on vacation." It's like, well, what do you normally do? He's a printer, and she's like, "Henry's very clever at printing." There's also the scene where Mary endlessly pulls at the suitcase under the bed. This reminds you of the Twin Peaks scene where we first encounter Bob in Laura's room.
Oh, so that's what she's doing. She's pulling the
suitcase. Yeah.
I just thought
it seems more surreal at first.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense now.
But getting back to the scene we're talking about in heaven, the note I have about it was like, I have a couple notes. Like, Henry needs to take care of this damn child. Where is he heading off to? There's scenes in this movie where he's just like about to head off when the baby's there and Mary's not there. And I'm like, where is he going? You need to take care of this kid, dude. But the lady in the radiator stuff is so deranged. She stomps on sperm-like creatures that fall from the sky onto the stage. while pipe organ plays Stompin' the Bug. And, you know, she's destroying the thing that Henry's afraid of, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Responsibility, etc. She's like this. I guess let me start here as we get into like interpretations and stuff. When I watched this movie, I was robo tripping when I was like 19 or 20 or whatever, and I watched it for the first time. And my takeaway has always been, oh, he commits suicide at the end, and like the lady in the radiator represents like suicide. And I think that's a very amateur take on this movie, and we'll get into more. But if you listen to David Lynch talk about Eraserhead, he's very specific when he talks with the lady in the radiator, and he says she represents like almost like relief, you know, like hope. So like the opposite to me of what my initial take was. I should also note, David Lynch didn't originally want to incorporate the lady in the radiator. She wasn't part of the original script. They'd actually saw, you know how there's many scenes prior to her being introduced where they just focus on the radiator and he's staring at it on the bed? Like those were shot before he even thought about the lady in the radiator. And he was like, he ran to the set and he looked at the radiator, and apparently like there's a little space behind that was perfect. He's like, radiators don't normally look like this, but ours did, and it was perfect, and that's where she was going to exist. And he incorporated her later. But it's like those elements of synchronicity with art that Lynch always talks about, with catching the big fish. Like this thing came together perfectly over a long period of time. I like your reading, though. I agree with you. I don't really have a take on that scene, and yours makes sense to me.
So a boy, yeah. So we just talked about the boy finding his head, takes it to a pencil factory. That's where we have this, you know, I just like to think too, David Lynch probably built whatever contraption it is that all the pencils are like moving by.
Yeah.
Right?
I was looking at the little factory thing with the pencils going up and down. Yeah, that's very interesting. And I did just get a feeling of like, you know, yeah, the capitalism thing of like, we're it's like that thing you told me when we were on acid one time. You're like, are we just running ourselves down until we're nothing or nothing's left? And it's like, that's what's happening to him here.
Yeah.
He becomes these inconsequential pencil shavings that just get flung off the desk into the air.
Well, it's kind of like what happens to, if you're, I mean, I guess differently nowadays because heterosexuals in general have always been the people having kids, but I guess nowadays, you know, it's almost like we're efficient for the the capitalist fucking system of like getting everybody out there to work. Is like you have a kid, so now you are more like dependent upon the system and working for the system, and eventually like that's just kind of what you are now. I think I don't know. That's my take on what David Lynch was trying to say with that scene.
And we'll have more to say about what we think David Lynch was trying to say. Before we get to the ending here, Adam, as is typical on the show, I want to play a little bit here from Roger Ebert's review. It's only a couple minutes, but some Siskel and Ebert while I refill my drink. Thank you, folks.
Films on video. One of the strangest films in recent years seems to be renting strongly around the country, and its title is Eraserhead. This was the first work by David Lynch, who went on to make Elephant Man, Dune, and the controversial new film Blue Velvet. Eraserhead is weirder than all three of those films put together. It takes place in a world that maybe looks a little like ours. It has things like steam radiators in it anyway. But apparently this is a different universe, a different world, and it stars John Nance as a frightened man who lives in that world of shadows and evil moments, threats, and bizarre visions. To give you an idea of the film style, here's the scene where he goes to his girlfriend's house for dinner. There's something really unsettling about the way that tiny little chicken is still alive on the plate, but that's nothing compared to the central scenes in this movie where the hero and his girlfriend give birth to some kind of lizard monster that cries for the rest of the film until the gruesome ending, after which it doesn't cry anymore. The best thing about Eraserhead is the way it creates an absolutely original, threatening universe. Nothing in this movie seems reassuring or familiar. But one note, by the way, because I watched it just in the last couple of days on video, the movie is shot in a lot of darkness and shadows, and it's hard to see some of the details, if you watch it on video, details that would be clear in a movie theater.
I didn't like the film when it came out. I still don't like it. I'm trying to figure out what is the appeal of it. First of all, it's very confusing to follow, but I'm trying to think that it is more of the college-age crowd that is embracing this film, and maybe they feel so alienated by the world around them that all the threats that are involved in this guy are all the kind of subconscious and sometimes conscious threats that they feel themselves. They don't identify with this guy as much as they identify with what is coming at him.
I'll tell you what it reminds me of. This film reminds me of a film made 55 years ago called Lange by Salvador Dali and Louis Buñuel, one of the great masterpieces of surrealism. Both films have very disgusting images shot in a very crude way, in a very surrealistic way. And in the 60s, I think it might have been called a bad trip. Sometimes people want to go on one. It just makes them feel kind of creepy, and that's maybe what they're looking for.
Man, I almost called him Jay Leno. Did Roger Ebert just describe so much of our oeuvre here on the show? People just wanted to feel a little bit creepy.
Yeah. I kind of respect that. I don't know. Do you know the history between Roger Ebert and David Lynch movies?
I mean, I know a little bit. I know it's a bit like back and forth, right? Antagonistic at times, and then other times where he likes the film.
Well, he mentions it there, the very controversial Blue Velvet. He hated Blue Velvet, and he thought it was like a misogynistic film and shit. And I think it's refreshing here to see Ebert defending Eraserhead to Siskel. He's just like, I just don't get it. I guess it's a kid thing.
Yeah.
But, I always like to hear from them, hear their perspective, and, kind of plays into ours, helps us out. But, yeah, they liked it. It's a classic film, right? Let's get into the ending, Adam. Awakened, Henry seeks out the girl across the hall, but finds her with another man. Crushed, Henry returns to his room. He takes a pair of scissors, and for the first time removes the child's swaddling clothes. It is revealed that the child has no skin. The bandages held its internal organs together, which proceed to spill out after the bandages are cut, just expands. The child gasps in pain, and Henry goes to stab its organs with the scissors. He does think about it, and he stabs it with the scissors. The wounds gush a thick liquid, covering the child. The power in the room overloads, causing the lights to flicker. As they flick on and off, the child grows to huge proportions. As the lights burn out completely, the child's head is replaced by the planet seen at the beginning. Henry appears amidst the billowing cloud of eraser shavings. The side of the planet bursts apart, and the man inside struggles with his levers, which emit sparks. Henry is embraced warmly by the lady in the radiator, in a white void. I mentioned something to you earlier this week, Adam, and this is going to be a spoiler for Too Old to Die Young. So if you haven't watched Too Old to Die Young, skip the next, 5 minutes. Just skip here. I'm going to bring this up now, but spoilers, Too Old to Die Young. Spoilers for Eraserhead. Sorry, folks. If you haven't seen Eraserhead, you're crazy. I asked you a question, Adam. I said, what is the connection between Too Old to Die Young and Eraserhead? Could you guess that since I asked you?
I still can't. Yeah, I've been dreading this moment.
There's a psychic rupturing moment in Too Old to Die Young, and there's a psychic rupturing moment here in Eraserhead. So the moments I'm talking about are in Too Old to Die Young. Martin is killed by Jesus. At one point, it's a huge part. It's not the end of the show. I think it's like episode 9 or something, but right before the end. But Martin is killed, and immediately the universe reacts. There's music, stings. You have Jenna Malone's character appearing as a fourth dimensional being all of a sudden. Her entire demeanor changes in the next episode. In my mind, when I watched Too Old to Die Young, I had always thought this wasn't supposed to happen. Jesus broke the logic of the story, of the storyteller, of the creator. This was not supposed to happen, and that's why everything kind of goes haywire after that. The story has lost its narrative anchor, and now you're watching a post-narrative story after episode 9. Same thing happens here in Eraserhead and several other movies and things we could talk about. Season 3 of Twin Peaks, spoilers. Cooper exits the reality of Twin Peaks and comes into the real world. And that fucks everything up. And the story just becomes narrativeless to the point where the story collapses in on itself at the end. This movie, he kills the baby, and what happens? Logic stops. time stops, reality ceases to exist as it did before. You killed the main character.
Damn. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, yeah, like as the lights burn out completely and the child's head fucking grows, sweeping around the room. Yeah.
Now, it doesn't necessarily answer the end with him with the lady in the radiator and the hope. I don't know. I'm just curious. What do you think about this ending? What do you think about this ending? The man who's about to have a child. Is it optimistic? Is it pessimistic?
I feel like literally the film is pessimistic, but not necessarily something that you're supposed to like look away from, because like he is embraced warmly at the end. Like they are embracing at the end. So it's like, does she represent suicide, or does she just represent growing up? Does she represent? Yeah, I don't have anything.
David Lynch has always said no one has the interpretation right. No one's ever gotten it right. Well, he doesn't believe in right? He doesn't believe in objective truth with art, but no one's ever gotten his interpretation. I think that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to think about because, like, what are we seeing? Are we seeing a literal representation of him killing the Eraserhead baby, or is he killing all of the anxiety and etc. around the Eraserhead baby? You know what I mean? Is it symbolic? Where does Mary go?
Mary gone. Mary at home with her parents.
She comes back though after that, and then she disappears from the movie without anything. There's no talking, nothing.
Yeah,
she's gone.
Yeah, that's right. Because she's back in bed, like shoving him off the bed, right?
Yeah, and he starts pulling like intestines from like little spermatozoan creatures or whatever from under the covers. But yeah, I don't know, man. That was my only point, was the too old to die young thing. Obviously, there's a psychic rupture at the end of this film. What does it mean? I don't know, but I do have some prompts here I want to run through, and hopefully this will help us kind of, talk about the ending and talk about our thoughts on the movie. Adam, what emotion did you think Eraserhead is actually about at its core?
I mean, for my money, I'm going to say like it's about being overwhelmed, worried, anxious, fearful. Everybody in this film shows different, Mr. X, he's worried and he's like he's overwhelmed by the pipes, and he has to like make it such a big point that he put these pipes there.
Well, the physical toll it's taken on his body too, right? My knees. Look at my knees.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think that's my answer to that, which is like, yeah, this is a movie about being overwhelmed and anxiousness. Like the entire time, all we ever see Henry doing is like, anytime we see his face, except for like one time when he's smiling, he just looks concerned and worried.
I don't want to repeat you. The only thing I'd add is young. I think young is another identifier I'd add to this movie. It's about being young and overwhelmed. It's not about being 40-year-olds and overwhelmed necessarily, because he wasn't 40 when he made this. He was 20. I think it's worth mentioning. Next question. Do you see the film as more about fear of fatherhood or fear of adulthood?
I mean, obviously, like I'm going to interpret right now, I'm going to interpret it a lot more literally. Like, I guess I forgot that like, in the movie, I don't know. The first time I saw this, I must have been really high, like a lot of people. And so I forgot about like the scene where it's just so explicit, like this is her, it's so explicit that this is her baby. It's not just like some random creature that like, you're like, oh man, they don't leave it up to guessing where this thing came from. Like it's very to me, it's very clearly about fear of fatherhood, but I could see like how it's like about just also the fear of adulthood also.
It's like two things. I recently had to finance a used car, which is pretty expensive in this market. I got a good deal, but it's still expensive. And like, that's adulthood right there, right, Adam? Like having to take on responsibilities like that because you have no choice really is adulthood. And I feel that fear in this movie. The fear, and I've just felt that in general, like making that decision, it just felt like, okay, I can't be a kid anymore. I have to be an adult about this time. So I can connect with that as just like a fear of adulthood. And that's why I mentioned young in the last descriptor here. Because, yeah, I do see that side to it. It's a mixture of both. But obviously, from your perspective, you're going to immediately pick up on all the father. This is what it's literally about.
Yeah, like this movie, yeah, for as weird and surreal as this movie is, it has a very simple storyline that you can follow throughout it. And I appreciate that too, because like I feel like for a lot of surreal films, like they might not have that simple, easy to follow storyline going on. But this one, like, yeah, the literal story is about fatherhood. But I could see how, yeah, you talking about like just getting a new car, how that is also like that fear and then like amount of responsibility is also what this film is about.
This movie also inspired me to reach out to my father, who I've never spoken to ever really in my life. And he responded, by the way, Adam. So that's how that's going.
And we're going to read that response now, live on air.
Let's go. Let's get into it. I'm going to cry. Does the setting feel like a future, a past, or a dream outside of time?
You know, it's a funny question you ask, because I literally wrote down my thoughts on this without any prompting. I was like, this movie takes place in another reality. David Lynch makes movies from some alternate dimension where humanity is not like fully complete. And yeah, like just the way everyone behaves in this film, I'm like, okay, you know, this is definitely you could say a dream outside of time. I was going more literal with it and being like, this is just a different, if life is the multiverse, you go a few shades away from here where humans aren't necessarily going to be as complete as they are in our dimension. And this is a film taking place in one of those dimensions, you know, where the ingredient list of humanity is not complete yet. Because everybody is just acting so like off and so like stilted at times.
Well, humanity, as we know it, is a perfect storm of a lot of factors. You take one or two of those factors out, what does humanity look like? Yeah, for sure. Outside of time, I agree. I agree with that. It does, like, even, the plot, the plot of time we follow, Henry's always on vacation. He's not doing the day-to-day grind. Yeah. Next question. What part of the film feels the most true emotionally, even if it's surreal visually?
I think for me, it's Henry getting his head popped off. Because just that feeling of like what you consider to be your objective self absolutely gets erased. Your head gets erased. There's an eraser of heads out there. When you come into these responsibilities that you have in adulthood, where it's like, well, no, it actually doesn't matter how you feel about what's going on, because it's still happening. And yeah, I don't know. That's how yeah.
To piggyback off that, I'd say for me the most emotional, and this might be a question later, but the most emotionally effective scene for me was the very end when he stabs the child. Because there's a level of like curiosity killed the cat to what he does. He's like, what's under those bandages? He cuts it and he can't go back, right? He signed the deal. He can't go back. He just has to suck it up and kill his anxieties. I don't know. Take on adulthood. Stab the child. I don't know.
You don't want to play asshole with me, kid. You lose every time.
What does the film say about the body? As a burden, a machine, or a mystery? The classic body horror.
Yeah, this is a body horror film. What does the film say about the body?
Is it scary and confusing to a young person?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Like, the scene
it's never good. He never like pulls out like an organ and he's like, oh, I love this. He's like, this sucks.
Well, yeah, it's like that. Yeah, literally when he's pulling stuff out of the bed when he's laying down with his wife, it's just like, it feels like a burden. Yeah, it feels like a burden because of like how now he has to deal with like, what the hell is this? Now I got to deal with this crap.
I think about David Lynch, and David Lynch he talks about in the interviews with Catherine Coulson and people, but Eraserhead stories, but like they used to, like, David Lynch doesn't like change. Like, he wears the same outfits every day. I can relate. He wears, he eats the same thing every day. Like, he's very pattern based. Like, they had a time where they just ate egg salad sandwiches on set, probably for months.
Nice.
But when I think about that and what we were just discussing about, the body as a burden, right? It's like the thing I go back to where I'm like, I wish I could just simplify all this shit and not have to worry about it. And I feel like that's very David Lynch, right? He's like, I order the same thing every day. I don't have to waste that creative energy on making a decision on this.
Yeah.
A little pretentious, but I can see the connection there. Next one. Is Mary a sympathetic character, or is she trapped in the same nightmare as Henry?
Well, I feel like, I don't know if those two questions, if it feels like those two questions you can answer yes to both of them. It made me write down, like, just, I don't find Mary to be a sympathetic character, I guess. Obviously. I even wrote down, like, man, in this film, does David Lynch hate women? Because all the women in this film are just awful. Like, and I can't get behind any of them.
Yeah. Not the grandma?
Except maybe only the grandma. All she does is toss some salad, but then, like, even Mrs. X, trying to, lay one on Henry.
Assault him, yeah.
Sexually assault him after talking about his telling him about his baby. I guess, like, we should view Mary as a sympathetic character, though, right? Like, because she's trapped
in the same situation as him,
nightmare.
right? She's crying. She's like, "You don't mind, Henry? My life's over too." Yeah, I could see both, and I would love. I wish he had somehow done that. Been like, he had shot maybe, like, I don't know, 15 minutes from her perspective or something. That would have been interesting. But it's not the movie we got.
No, yeah.
What do you make of the beautiful girl across the hall, Adam? Is she a real person or a fantasy?
Having been, like, having lived in apartment buildings, especially, like, I've been single in apartment buildings, like, it's hard to say. I think she's real, but at the same time, I can see, like, their actual interactions not being real, because, like, I've had those fantasies living in an apartment, because you're like, oh, there's the hot girl across the hall. That's all it is, right? It's just the hot girl across the hall down the way. And you're like, oh man, wouldn't that be great if she just came over here and started macking on me?
It's very fantastical, right? Because Henry himself, like, why would she even hook up with this guy?
Right. Yeah. Like, I just remember being like, ew, him? There's nothing attractive about Henry in this movie.
I think she plays a very important role of, like, judgment, right? Because later she judges him and she's like sleeping with some other guy, some other sleazeball. Kind of reminded me of Escape from Tomorrow a little bit. I guess we should mention here, we didn't mention during the plot description, but when they have the love scene, I think that's super awesome, where they sink into the bed and it's just like a pool of water or whatever in there. Apparently that was a mixture of warm water and milk.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, are they in a bathtub of milk?
Yeah, apparently literally milk, and it smelled awful, Catherine Coulson said. And David Lynch was like, it was beautiful. Loved it. They were good sports. I don't know. Beautiful girl across the hall. She's an important figure in this movie. Yeah. It's like, you know, it's the thing where he's like, I don't want to be trapped in this, what I'm having happen right now. But even that gets in the way of the fantasy.
Yeah.
Is the lady in the radiator a comforting figure or a sinister one? You know, I always thought she was sinister, but now I do, see her as a comforting figure, just because Lynch said that's what she is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's smiling the whole time, right? Like, it's not like she's not looking at you all sinisterly.
Well, it's mainly, the way she looks, the creepy music, and then what she's doing. But if she was, like, shooting your bills or something, it'd be less disturbing, right?
Shooting your bills, huh?
Like, I'm taking care of your bills for you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it'd be like, okay, that is comforting. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Okay.
And then we can we can skip the final sequence thing unless you really have anything else to say. We think we kind of gave our thoughts on that. But I do have a very important last question, Adam, and this is like, based on the thing he always says, where he's like, believe it or not, Eraserhead is my most spiritual film. Elaborate on that. No. If Lynch says Eraserhead is his most spiritual film, what do you think he means by spiritual in this context?
Man, I feel like I'm like wading into a pool, but my balls are just dangling everywhere and ruining the party for everybody when I answer some of these questions. I think it's not necessarily about just all the actions that take place in this. I think that, you could watch this and like we said, there's a through line, but like that through line for this plot in this movie is just like some simplistic thing that's there to hold everything together. I think so much of what we said about this being a movie about adulthood, about fear of like growing up.
Did you and Mary have sexual
the fear
intercourse?
of like just growing up. I think that has a lot to do with, the human spirit and like what life is all about. Like this movie is really, this movie is about what life is about. And I think that's just, I think that's my take on why it's its most spiritual film. I don't know. What about you, Dan?
I think you could easily replace the word spiritual with personal, because several times in Eraserhead stories, he says, Eraserhead is a personal film. It's probably my most personal film. I worked on it the longest. I think that's what he means by spiritual. I think Lynch as a person, when he thinks about himself, like it's all very spiritual, right? Like he's in a transcendental meditation. This is a coming of age film. This is his coming of age film. And I think in that way, it's not only his most spiritual film, but it's his most personal film. And I think that's honestly the answer. I think that's the answer to that.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, it's definitely, this movie was a labor of love with some donations coming in.
It's like the perfect scenario, right? You watch Lynch when he's in his 70s working on The Return. He's just pissed. He's like, why don't they just let me sit here and do what I want to do? Whereas in Eraserhead, he had years to plan everything out, to do everything, light everything perfectly, get everything perfect. This was like, that's why I think it's just like, he probably loved, this is what he looks back on and is like, I wish this could have been the same case on every movie I did. What did he do after this? He did Elephant Man. Adam, I've never seen Elephant Man, so we should look into getting that one up on the show sometime soon. I don't know. I wouldn't mind it.
It's crazy. He makes this movie, Elephant Man, and then Dune.
Dune, yeah, I love Dune. People hate on Dune, but I fucking love it.
It's a crazy run. I want to watch Dune. I might watch Dune on mushrooms. I don't know yet.
That's really it. I mean, that's Eraserhead, man. Oh, you go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was still talking about, you know me.
You know me. I mean, that's it. That's Eraserhead. Do you have any final thoughts about Eraserhead before we put this one to rest for now?
I mean, the only final thought would be like, and I think it's very clear the way I talk about this film is that there's a lot of me that just doesn't understand it, and I'm fine with that. Like, I'm totally fine watching a movie and not really understanding what it's about. Especially with this, because I think it's just such a beautiful film. I mean, just beautiful black and white photography, the set, the super personalized, personal set pieces that all look handcrafted. I mean, it's just, I almost any scene in this movie could be taken and be made like a poster that you put up in your room. And I would also like to say one of my favorite parts about this movie was the camera work. There are so many different scenes where the camera is like, it's set staring at one thing, and then there's like some unsettling sound, and then it swooshes into like an AC, a grate, and the camera just like zooms into like, and until it's like out of focus, and little things like that is just what makes this movie the GOAT. Greatest of all time. They ain't made movies like this anymore.
It is like I said in the pro section or whatever, the good, it's a totalizing creative vision, uncompromised. It's rare. And, you know, he was in the right time and place to have this happen. Like, I just can't believe it. I'd never known this stuff, but I'm like, little Nepo Lynch. No, just kidding. he lived poor directing this. Like, he lived on the below the poverty line making this. My thought on it, just returning to it after 10 plus years, is it's like, you know, you look at something and no matter, you know, difference, a prism or something, I don't know, whatever you would, I don't know what I'm describing, but you look at it and whatever direction you're looking at it from changes kind of how the movie is. So as I get older, it's shifted and now I watch it and I understand things a little bit more. I don't have as much of an amateur, you know, teenage interpretation of it. When I'm a kid, I'm edgy and I'm like, he commits suicide at the end because he can't take it, dog. And I just don't think that's the case anymore. You know, I don't think Lynch is about that life. And I don't think that's what he was trying to get across in this movie. And I think it'll be interesting to watch this movie again in 10 years from now. After all the adult decisions I have to make in the next decade, most likely. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I enjoyed our little pit stop here with Lynch. Obviously, we both recommend it. He is the greatest of all time to me. There's no one better. I don't know. You could maybe make a case for Kubrick, but they're contemporaries. I guess that's it. That's Eraserhead, folks. I love it. Check it out.
Makes me want to go
Adam,
watch. Makes me want to go watch Twin Peaks season 3. That's how I felt after watching this. Sorry to interrupt you there.
I'm glad we broke the seal again. So at least we can maybe could do Elephant Man next and kind of move on. I've never seen Elephant Man. I would love to watch it, and I would love to just talk about all of his movies. And I feel like if you listen to our show up till now, like you'll notice we didn't pay as much attention to like behind the scenes details. We actually dove into this movie. It's that rare thing where we're talking about a movie we've loved for many, many years, and that's the benefit of covering something like Lynch. And, you know, moving on, I did pick a movie for next week. We're going to do another auteur, Adam. Do you know what movie we are going to watch?
No idea, motherfucker.
Next week, we're going to watch, and this is basically, I just want to do a throwback. Our first episode was on Lost Highway. Do you know what episode 2 was?
No.
The King of Comedy. I don't know if I said that originally. We did Lost Highway, and then we did The King of Comedy by Martin Scorsese. So I thought it was only right. We're going to do another Martin Scorsese film this week, Adam. And I'm not doing it in order. I don't care as much. Scorsese has a lot of movies. I don't necessarily... That's my thing. I want to show this one first. We're going to be watching 1985's neo-noir black comedy film, After Hours. This one stars Amy Robinson, Griffin Dunn, Rosanna Arquette, and the very late and great Catherine O'Hara.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I've seen this cover. I haven't seen this movie. I've seen this poster a bunch, so sign me up.
It's our boy from American Werewolf in London, Jack. One of them becomes the zombie. I love this movie. It is basically the blueprint that the Safdie brothers have followed their entire lives. So you're going to understand why people say After Hours is, you know, they're just remaking After Hours over and over again. So expect that Uncut Gems energy. You're going to see the OG. Mm-hmm. I own this one on 4K. That's it, folks. I'm excited to watch this one. I wanted to pick, I was so close to picking, The Substance, but maybe next time. So we'll see what happens. Adam, do you have any beautiful, wonderful words of wisdom for our anxious guests who are having to live in this terrifying world?
In heaven, everything is fine. In heaven. That's all I got.
That is our show. Good night, everybody.
Jazz aliens? Yo, we from the planet Jazz. We're here to take over your honky asses, including you, host of the show.
Jazz alien Quado Mono invented the Big Five sound.
Yo, we're taking you to hell. You could be in hell, bitch.
White monkey.
Did you and Mary have sexual intercourse?